So the name is Curtis Sutherlin, Family Life Training Program. So why is it important for us to be sensitive to family diversity? Well, for one, you have to have an understanding of why you're going into this field anyway. And if I'm going in it for money, if I'm going in it for prestige or whatever, then I guess it doesn't matter what the family's like. But if I'm going into it because of the family, because I care about them, then it's important to me and to them to know that I am accommodating for their culture and who they are and what they bring to the table. Because every culture is different. I realized that when this family therapy began with the psychoanalysis, that there wasn't a huge flux of immigrants to deal with that would come in for the therapy. But nowadays we understand we're a global community and we have people from all over the world. So we need to understand the diversity that we need so that they feel respected, and it's about them to protect their autonomy. So the importance of diverse families or diverse cultures. I think to me personally, it's an understanding that everybody is a normal family. Because if you start asking yourself, what is a normal family, then you start, I suppose, judging individual members. So it's like, who's to say what the normal family is? I grew up in the age of Leave It to Beaver, and that was the normal family. So in the media, when I was a child watching these things, and I began to form what I thought was the normal family. But then came along Archie Bunker, and we had Happy Days, we had the Jeffersons, and now we got Modern Family. So media is doing so many different things to show us that a normal family is diverse. Diversity does make a normal family. So back in the day when we were thinking about normal families, if someone was together that didn't fit our stereotype, then we immediately thought bad of them. And for some people, then they would actually become aggressive. And so that's why we got the Ku Klux Klan, that's why we got a lot of ignorance, we got a lot of bad things going on in our society because of that. So I guess that's personally important to me to understand that people are diverse, families are diverse, and they need to be accepted. So one thing that taught me about diversity was an art class in college. And I don't know if you've had a class in art, but with when you look at the different styles of art, I used to like the ones that I could tell what they were. So if I look at a painting, I can describe, oh, that's a house, or that's a tree, or that's a river. And then the stuff that I couldn't make out what it was, I was like, I was just kind of disgusted with some of it. And so I would try to pass over it. But in my art appreciation class, what it did is it taught us to appreciate it in a different way, to appreciate what the artist put behind it. So there's an art form called Dada art. And we're like, what is Dada art? And as we looked at it, it was just a bunch of nothing. Couldn't find any patterns, couldn't find any symmetry, nothing, just Dada, just nonsense. But then after we studied it, and after we learned more about it, then we found out that the artists were trying to make a statement. Their statement was, it makes no sense. It was during wartime. War made no sense. So they felt if people can make no sense, then so could art. How do you like that? So even though I wouldn't purchase Dada art per se to put on my wall at home, I can at least appreciate it, for what the artists put behind it, their efforts, their statements. And I think I've put that over onto diverse cultures, diverse families, looking at them and what they bring to the family. So the different assets they have. So maybe they are, one's older than the other, maybe one's from a different culture than the other, different nationality, different color, maybe they adopt a child from a different culture. To me, what's important personally is that we care for and respect the individuals and not judge them for their appearance. Well, worst case scenario would include the thoughts of disrespect. So if you're trying to provide therapy to a family, let's say it's a Hispanic family, for example, and they're very family oriented and often have extended families. So they might have mom or dad or both living with them within the home. Since we're approaching family therapy as a systems approach, then we've got to look at everybody that's living in the house, not just the couple, and their children, but we also need to look at the grandparents as well. So let's say an example, we have them all in the room, and or we have them in the waiting area, and then we meet them at the waiting area and say, you know, your mom and dad can stay out here. Well, immediately we've offended probably the entire family because of the way that they work. So that's a good example of how a diverse family, or not understanding the culture of a family, could really go south on you. I enjoy working with people from different cultures than my own. I'm not afraid to get out and meet people who are different from myself. I often have attended church services of different religions. I've often gone with different communities, different cultures, and I got a couple stories on that. One of which was in Savannah, Georgia. So I'm there, and there's a festival going on down in Forsyth Park. Forsyth Park's a big park. A lot of public things happen there. So I'm walking around, I see a huge group of people, so I thought I'd check it out, see what's going on, get a little closer. And upon closer inspection, I see a couple girls, and they're making out, and I'm like, whoa, that's a little different. Two girls that are kissing and stuff, so it's right out here in public. I think, wow, okay, so, you know, I just kind of walk on by, and I start looking around a little bit more and seeing more people, and then I see these big women. I mean, they're like Amazonian women, really tall and big, and I'm thinking, wow, she is huge, and but pretty, you know. And so I'm just kind of watching the whole thing go on, and then some people are getting up front, and they're starting to address, you know, the big crowd of people out in the park. And that woman ends up there at the top, and then she's joined by a couple other women, same size. And this deep bass voice comes out of her mouth, and I'm thinking, oh my God, it's transgender. And so then, you know, you get this, my thoughts. It's like, okay, so that's why the girls were making out over on the side, and that's why she was really big, because she's a he. So then I start challenging my homophobia, you know. So how frightened am I of being around people of a different culture? So I went ahead and just started mingling on in. So I went into the area, started stopping by the little booths and stuff, and you know what? They're very friendly people. So later I had a friend who was openly homosexual, and he and another friend of mine were in the car, and we're heading out to the beach area, and we're sitting at a stoplight, and this guy in the back seat, he rolls down the window and he blows a whistle at another guy, you know, going, doing a cat call. And I'm like, okay, now wait, we're going too far. So how far can we go within our abilities to work with people of different cultures and who are diverse, who are different from us? I plan to keep on stretching my boundaries to be able to be accepting of different people, non-judgmental. It's not me, it's not something I have to agree with necessarily, but it's somebody that I have to accept and respect.